that Zorn is already invading Philippines jungle, trying to give pressure, but Del Rosario still managing to secure their purple buff. And Zorn, are you in trouble? Nope, he managed to get away.
Yep, forcing an early retribution coming from Team Philippines from him is huge because that pretty much allowed Team Malaysia to secure the Little Wonder. I like the read coming from Team Malaysia as well, especially with the basket pickup, knowing that Team Philippines, they do have the tendency to go for the Enchanter styles. And look at this, Zorn going a little bit aggressive. Villa Luna actually going to get caught out, and that's going to be a big catch coming in as well. Imam looking for the zone coming in, but I don't think they can kill off Zorn anytime soon.
That was potentially the first kill of the SEA Games in a Mobile Legends event, but Malaysia as well as Philippines, even though they are trying very hard to dish as much damage as they can, they still maintain composure, not to overextend, not to potentially give out a mistake. For now, both teams are playing a little bit safe, trying to trade as, you know, the little objectives, just like the crab that we just saw.
I definitely agree as well. And when it comes to matchup as well, Carry is not exactly the best 1v1 matchup against the V2 itself. But it seems like there is going to be play coming from Zorn. They do go in for the harassment against the Imam. Villa Luna looking for the stop as well. But the chop coming from Del Rosario is not going to be enough. Zorn is going to be able to escape this completely with the mark. Means that Team Malaysia, they will be able to escape this. However, they are going to lose a little bit of mid-pressure.
Yeah, Malaysia, they escaped with just a slither of health. Like, that was good. But right now, they do have to see. And first blood has been given to Malaysia. The very first kill of the SEA Games in the Mobile Legends event. And right now, they're still continuing on the fight on the turtle. And Philippines have managed to secure it for themselves. Formace is still in front of Moon, managing to get the kill on the back line.
Oh, very nicely Dawning Knight as well. Philippines, they're taking advantage of the slows coming from Angela. However, they did not take into consideration that Team Malaysia, they do have a lot of sustains coming in, especially with the Khalid. So great invade so far, but Del Rosario, he's looking to go in for the salvage as well for Team Philippines as they try to go in and hit Malaysia hard. Now Chiku is going to be able to escape this with Moon going for the great stun coming in, and that is going to be put Team Philippines in dangerous territory. Do they want to re-engage? Team Philippines, they're playing it safe, they're trying to go in for the Khalid as well, but Zorn gets a very nice way of the Dragon Flicker as well. Catches Del Rosario in awkward position and gets one, and that is going to be Momo getting the kill for the carry, so that marksman is going to get a little bit more kill. However, Moon in a very awkward position, almost dying there in that vicinity, punishing the marksmen of Team Philippines. A beautiful start from Team Malaysia as of yet.
Yeah, Philippines overstayed their welcome, really trying to force a fight on the jungle, trying to secure the orange buff, but Malaysia, they understand what they're doing. They come back and recapitalize their own map. And right now, Malaysia has a 4-kill lead over Philippines. This is a very substantial advantage for Team Malaysia. And for Team Philippines, they have to go back to what works. They have to understand what is the best move that they can do as a team. And Malaysia just scored their 5th kill of the game.
Oh, this is huge coming from Team Malaysia. They were waiting very patiently as well, as likewise coming from Team Philippines. And that one blunder is slowly being a domino effect coming from Team Malaysia, especially when now that the carry is 1-0 against Fee Gonzalez, who's playing on the B tree. So Team Malaysia currently, even though they've got 1k economy and they've got 5 kills, Team Philippines has been able to keep up in their economy as of yet. But as of yet, let's take a look at what's going to be happening as well. You can see Team Malaysia, they're emphasizing on mid control to try and secure the top turtle.
Yeah, and right now we also have to give word that for the side of Malaysia, Zorn as well as Moon doing very good setups for both these plays, and Zorn taking a lot of damage, looks like, for both the teams. They are focusing on the turtle. The turtle has been resetted. Team Malaysia, they may not want to take this fight because, again, the Philippines will show that they can secure this very easily.
Yep, Zorn does still have the wave of Dragon. He's looking for the perfect setup as well. Like I said, so the leader counter is something that they can take advantage with the retribution to get this kill. Looks like Zorn, he's looking for the kick. Does he get it? Yes, he is. That's going to be cover kick coming in. However, the turtle buff was secure from Del Rosario. He does have the damage as well as the hard guard. Team Malaysia, they're in a little bit of trouble, and that's going to be Zorn paying the price. However, the back lines, we have Formace and Momo just completely shredding the back lines of Team Philippines, and now they're forced to disengage. 1 for 2, and absolutely worth it trade. However, economy-wise, seems to be pretty close still.
Yeah, Mobile Legends Bang Bang is a game where you have to manage your resources. And for the side of Malaysia, I feel like they understood that they will not be able to secure the turtle. So that's why we see two of the players actually flanking to behind, making sure that they manage to get Gonzalez and try to kill off Imam. So So I feel like they have the right idea. We cannot win, we cannot secure the turtle. So we will take what we can take, which is taking some kills. And right now, they're putting their dominance on the top side of the map, making sure that they can secure the very first turret.
Oh no, if Gonzalez got a little bit aggressive, you can see Zorn was itching to go in for the punish. However, the Rosario going to be looking to secure the purple buff. But it seems like Team Malaysia does not have the utilities to fight this. Real Malaysia has been dropped trying to punish on the moon. You can see Chico immediately going for the cancel. However, Gonzalez from afar finally gets a kill. That's going to be a little bit of redemption economy that Team Philippines has been looking forward to. And because of that kill, you can see, based on the economy, they immediately catch up. And they're barely 1k behind.
Yeah, I feel like even Moon was caught by surprise. He didn't thought that he would die that fast to Gonzalez. So even though it looks like he's playing from behind with a 1-2-1 score, but right now he's actually really stacking on his physical attributes. So the damage does hurt. So for the side of Malaysia, even with this lead, they have to be careful.
Yeah, it's all about disciplined plays coming from Team Philippines, right? I like how they're able to capitalize on long-range snipes, be the real wound edition as well as the sniper coming in from the B-trick. But that's the thing, Malaysia, you can see they're looking to get a little bit aggressive, but it's so difficult to do so just because of hard guards that may or may not protect whoever they're ganking. You can see the hesitancy of Team Malaysia to play it safe. However, when it comes to turtle objectives, Team Malaysia has not won a single turtle fight yet.
Oh, they just won.
Oh, they just finally won. Okay,
they
never
just
mind. I
won,
take it
just
back.
won. Yeah, over there we can see the classic Cassacris. Even during the SEA Games, it can still happen. But looking at Philippines, the way that they are rotating, they're moving as 3, they're moving as 4, so it's 7 minutes, and they're already moving towards their Ube strat. So they're feeling like, in terms of damage, they actually do have enough. It's just that we have to see what is their priority. Right now, they are focusing on jungle objectives like the turtle, but we have to see when will they transition to the lanes. Malaysia, they almost got their second turret on the top side of the map, and in the bottom side of the map, we can see Zorn managing to catch Villa Luna and got a killing spree over to carry.
It seems like they are going to go for more as well as Gonzalez is going to be stranded here with no Angela protecting. Gonzalez is pretty much stranded. However, Malaysia, do they want to force the issue because the Lord is going to be up very soon in about 60 seconds. But it seems like Team Malaysia, they are going to back off and try to capitalize on the junglers itself. Then Rosario going to get caught out. A big dotted line comes in. It's going to be now straight its way through. The render coming in is not going to be able to kill off 4 mains as they've got the sustains. But you can see Team Malaysia, they will sacrifice 4 mains as they have a bigger picture. That is going to be diving onto his Imam. But it seems like Imam does have the sustains and they get completely punished for their greed on trying to kill the mage, and this is going to be putting a dent into his Malaysia's economy.
Yeah, a big miscalculation for the side of Malaysia, thinking that they can out-damage. But look at that, Momo trying to 1v2. 1v2, is that a good idea? And looks like it's not. For the side of Team Malaysia, right now they're giving a lot of advantages for the side of Philippines. They are starting to feel like their advantage is bigger than it really is.
Oh my goodness, Team Philippines with that play means they are going to get a little bit more mid-control, and they are back right in action as Team Malaysia is going to be able to capitalize a little bit more. Gonzalez starting to hit like a truck. We did not expect the damage coming in from him. As you can see, Team Malaysia, they have to start grouping up as 5 because the Ube strategy is starting to kick in coming from Team Malaysia.
Yeah, as we talked about before we even start the series, where for the side of Philippines, this is how they play. The moment one person makes a mistake from the side of the enemy team, they can start to capitalize. We can see after those mistakes, Philippines, they got a lot of objectives on the map. So Malaysia, they do have to learn. They have to adapt very quickly, where against a Philippine team, they are very keen. They are very aware of small micro mistakes that they can take advantage of. Right now, looking at the itemization, Beatrix already has the Blade of Despair. So the burst damage is going to be very strong.
Yeah.
But against for this tanky lineup, we do have to see whether Gonzalez is going to be favoring the Malefic Roar for more penetration or the Demand Sword for the percent HP damage.
I'm really surprised that Chico opted to go for the Radiant Armor instead of the usual Sky Guard and Helmet, just because of how much the Esmeralda and Eve is bringing to the table. So he's going to be playing a little more on the supportive side rather than for self-sustain for the invades. So it's really interesting that Team Malaysia is doing this, but you can see they are looking to go in for the ambush. Imam does have a very good idea. Zorn is going to try to make an attempt. Here comes the way of the dragon. However, the Purifier is going to completely cancel off, and the Lido counter will chop in now. And that is going to be 1 man down from side Team Malaysia, and they are having to make a run for it. Team Philippines does pop the power guard in this vicinity. Chico also going to be caught out. However, for Mace, looking to isolate the fight, he's going to be caught out in the mess, and all 4 players as the Philippines shift their focus on him and takes him out. And that is Beautiful, beautiful transitions coming from Team Philippines.
Yeah, we can see Philippines, they're not done yet. So the win in front, Moon still trying to dish out as much damage as he can from the back side. But again, for the side of Malaysia, they're taking the risk where they feel like the cost is not that high. But as of right now, the Lord is up. So for both of the teams, for both of the nations, Philippines and Malaysia, they have to start thinking this is going to be, this is going to the 11th minute mark. When it comes to the 12th minute mark, then the Lord will be stronger. So they have to start playing a little bit more carefully. They cannot make any positional mistakes.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by the trigger discipline coming from Team Philippines as well, especially with the early engagement where they could have forced all their skills onto Chiku, but instead of doing it, they just showed their presence, walked right beside him, held their horses, and saw that, hey, wait a minute, Formis is out of position, turns their focus and say, guys, let's shut him down, and they immediately take him out of the pick equation. Is interesting considering that for a good solid 10 seconds, no spells were expected. But now, here comes the play coming from Team Malaysia with the concealed as well as they're going for the way of the Dragon King. Takes out the Angela. The biggest problem from the side of Team Malaysia has been taken out, and you can see everyone from Philippines is running the big Dawning Light to scare them off, and that is going to be space created for the Lord take.
Gonzalez almost went down, but Soto is still there. Soto is making sure that Malaysia does not have an easy time securing this Lord. Soto, Del Rosario, as well as Imam is there. Malaysia, they really have to be careful. But Soto is taking a lot of damage. Real manipulation has been open. Soto is very, very low, and he managed to be taken down. Formis is in front, but the little counter secures the kill. Malaysia, what do you want to do? And looks like they want to retreat. Philippines did a very, very good defense, making sure that the Lord doesn't go over to Malaysia.
Agreed. Gonzalez is going to be starting to hit like a truck, and Team Malaysia, even though they've got a radio armor to deal with the mage, but eventually they have to figure a way to deal with this V-Trix, and pretty much Formis has been given the task. But with him being take-out equation means that Team Malaysia is going to be forced to be going on a stalemate for now. As you can see, they're staring at the Lord, and it's all about who makes the first move.
And right now for the side of Malaysia, I feel like this is what they're really thinking about. They have to focus either on Villaluna or Imam, because those are the two main players that they are focusing on. If they manage to get Gonzalez, then yeah, everyone is going over to Gonzalez. But without Villaluna, without Imam, they're creating a lot of space, especially for Formis to go to the back line, because again, the fact that Villaluna as well as Imam have a lot of slow, it makes it very, very difficult for the side of Malaysia, whether it be Zorn, Formis, or Chiku, to really disturb Gonzalez. So I feel like they're not worried about the damage, they're worried about the crowd control coming in from Philippines.
Agreed. It's all about playing the late game, and you can see Team Malaysia, their focus here is going to be dragging out towards the later stage of the game where Moon is going to be coming up online. Likewise with Momo, who's going to be the stretch through all this sustains, all this tanky composition coming from Philippines, and the only one that pretty much stops them is pretty much Gonzalez. As you can see, they're trying to bait him out as well. A big Dawning Light scares him off, but it's still not enough damage for Moon, as he is only level 12, 30 minutes in the game.
And right now, Malaysia is still going for the Lord, and they're going to be focusing on Del Rosario, and he is going to be taken down. So right now, the Bellman is not there. Formis, he's still taken down, and Chiku secures the Lord. But Philippines still making sure that they can win the team fight. In the front lines, Chiku has been taken down. 3 members, 3 athletes from Malaysia has gone down. Only one from the side of Philippines. So Philippines is still looking like they are in charge.
Exactly, they still have the Esmeralda. As long as Gonzalez is live, they can look to turn the tide. As Team Malaysia, they need to rely on Zorn making the plays with Moon. This is going to be a very, very difficult task to do. However, what's really surprising is that Mumu was completely destroyed by Gonzalez in one ultimate, and this is just putting Team Philippines in a situation where if Malaysia gets a little bit too aggressive, they will immediately look for the punish.
This is the pros and cons of having a carry. Yes, in the late game, it's going to be very strong. You're going to shred all the tanky heroes in front, with or without tanky, tank-destroying items. But the thing is, you have a very, 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 very short range. And Gonzalez, having that Blade of Despair, having that Hunter Strike, having that Demon Hunter Sword, he's going to outrange the carry by a lot. So it's going to be very, very easy for Gonzalez to kill off the carry. So Momo has to have that awareness, whether he's going to come in late or Malaysia really have to make sure that Gonzalez is taken care of before a team fight begins.
Yeah, very interesting choice of itemization coming from Momo as well. But before that, let's take a look at Zorn. Zorn starting out with the kick as well. Gets over to Del Rosario. Very, very tanky. However, four mates immediately go to the back line. Immediately gets free-hitted by Gonzalez on the marksman. However, Momo will say, your sacrifice will not be in vain because I was able to trade it off for Team Malaysia. Soto, not too happy about it, is going to try and capitalize on the situation. He's stalling the time for the team. And you can see the teams are ready to go. Real Malaysia catches over off guard. They get a trade when Villa Luna survives and Team Malaysia managed to brute force tank all of the mage damage coming from Team Philippines.
Yeah, Malaysia, they're playing very, very risky because we look at the HP bars coming in from their team, and it's not very, very high, but they still manage to kite things out. Now, Zorn is there. Zorn is just trying to make sure that he does not come and protect the turret. Malaysia making sure that they got the mid-second tier turret, and right now they're going to reset, and looks like Team Malaysia, they're still, in terms of map control, they're ahead, but in terms of gold, both the teams are even.
Exactly. You know, it's really smart that Zorn was able to bait out the hard guard preemptively, but at the same time, I'm really surprised that economy is still swinging 50-50s despite all these ugly trades. And you can see how close it gets, even though in terms of objectives, in terms of turret, Malaysia does have a little bit upper hand, but now we're heading towards late game territories. Items are almost getting maxed out. It all comes down to one wrong move, who makes the mistakes, and it's over. Seems like Zorn looking for the kick again, looking on the kick to Del Rosario. The hard guy comes in, they're going to be repeating the concentration, but you can see Momo completely chunking his way through, double kill for him, and now they're ignoring the rest of Team Philippines, knowing that Momo is so strong, and this is the late game territory that Malaysia has been eyeing for a very, very long time.
That was probably the best team fight that Malaysia has shown in this current match because it was a very clean pickoff on Del Rosario as well as Villa Luna, making sure that both of those players are down and out. For me, it makes it an easier task for him to go to the back lines. Even if he doesn't get a kill, as long as Gonzalez doesn't have the confidence to go in front and kill off Momo, it's going to look very strong. And Malaysia, they're still going hard on this engage in the bottom side of the map. Real manipulation has been open. Gonzalez trying to clear out the minion. Zorn is in front. He has been taken out. Chiku goes to the front. Still not able. He manages to get the kill. And the Dawning Light from Moon unable to get more kills on the table. Malaysia looking very, very strong, very, very aggressive in this game.
Very, very close plays coming from Moon as well, considering that he almost got the reset. That was his second Dawning Light. However, Philippines a little bit too much sustained. However, with the Lord knocking in, they are going to be sending Del Luna, preemptive hard guard coming in from the side team Philippines. Malaysia is looking to concede this as of yet, knowing that they do not have Zorn to punish this.
The thing that the side of Philippines, they have to worry about, because Del Rosario, even with Villa Luna coming in with the hard guard, giving extra shielding towards him, it looks like from the side of Malaysia, that really does not matter. Momo has enough damage to penetrate through the shield and penetrate through the HP of Del Rosario. So from the side of Philippines, they have to switch things up. Is it still a very good idea to protect the Balman? Or do you have to focus your hard guard on someone else, like Soto or Gonzalez?
It's going to be extremely hard to actually make what's the right play here, considering that Momo has reached a stage where his final item was the Endless Battle, and ever since that happened, things are going to go south. However, what they can do is bully out Moon, and that is a big catch-up because now they took down the annoying Xavier, but that just means the next target is going to be Momo. As you can see, Momo is slowly poking their way through. Soto taking a little bit too much damage, and the true damage coming from him is going to chunk his way through. Formay still has the immortality. He's going to try and bait things for Team Malaysia as they're going for a re-engage, but Zorn goes in for a beautiful, beautiful flicker play from Team Malaysia. However, Team Malaysia is down in terms of cooldowns to burst him down. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, and I feel like he did not expect for the kick to be that short. I feel like even he expected for it to go a little bit further, and Gonzalez having 1 HP left, that was very, very crucial, but we do have to put into consideration he has the immortality, so he will come back alive, and Villa Luna being on the side, he can still heal up Gonzalez. So over there, Malaysia, they have understood, yes, we need to take out Gonzalez, but Gonzalez not making it easy for the side of Malaysia. So right now, even though Malaysia has a clear advantage, we cannot count Philippines out because it's a very winnable game for them. Malaysia just need to overextend once, and it's game over. It's 20 minutes in the game.
Agreed. Gonzalez going to be selling off his shoes and purchasing the immortality to prolong the fight. And on top of it all, he's got the Hotguard to counter negate the plate armor. But we'll hold that off for now because Real Nation is going to be on his way. Winter Trucking from 4 Maze is going to keep him alive, whereas Team Malaysia looking to submit someone on plays, but a beautiful slow coming from Imam is going to slow him in his track. However, Team Malaysia is going to be able to retreat safely in that situation as they've got bigger pictures to fry. However, seems like the Rod is going to be up for grabs. As you can see, they see Soto up top and a big dawning light coming from Moon. It's going to scare off Team Philippines, and this is not looking good. Team Philippines, they have to call in the carry, they have to regroup, and they are going to try and force the issue with the Lord. A big outlook of Gonzalez, not going to be able to chunk through the Lord, and that is going to be Zorn trying to split off the fight, but seems like Team Malaysia, they're giving up control of the Lord, and they are just getting picked apart bit by bit, and the Lord is still going to be surviving, but Team Philippines, they focus on killing off all the heroes. They get the Lord, and Team Malaysia, they're scrambling. They lost everyone just like that.
This is what we just talked about. Only one person has to overextend slightly, and the tides of battle will change. Philippines now with 3 minions still there. They're focusing on mid. Only with Zorn and Momo there. Can they really do anything? Momo has to run away. His HP is so low, and Philippines, they have 2 minions still alive. They're focusing on the turret. They're focusing on the crystal. Malaysia, as of right now, they are able to make sure that they are able to survive this one, but Zorn is not going to say the same thing. Momo with very, very low HP. Real manipulation is there. There's nowhere for him to go. No one from Malaysia is alive, and game number 1 is going to the Philippines.
Oh, that was so close, but what a play coming from Team Philippines as well. The discipline plays, the coordination, the priority, the transitions as well for them to capitalize on the situation. Patience is key, and that is going to be Team Philippines as of yet. They take 1 game against Team Malaysia.
And this is what we have discussed before the series even starts. This is how both countries like to play. Where for the side of Malaysia, they like to take the risk. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. For the side of Philippines, they love to capitalize on the mistakes. The last team fight, we can see that Formies was caught a little bit off guard. He was forced to use his ultimate as well as his Winter Truncheon. And then during the fight, we can see how Zorn, he already knows what he has to do, where he has to separate the Balment away from the Lord. But then, they weren't sure whether they should kill the Balment off first or actually just focus on the Lord itself. I feel like that was the crucial moment where Malaysia was not able to hold the game long enough until Philippines won the game.
Exactly. It's all about the slight miscommunication that cost you the moment. And you can see as well, Team Philippines, they're always very, very coordinated in terms of decision. Even though they're just running around, they're not spending any spells, knowing that when the right call comes in with Venus saying, we want to kill this guy, everyone will finally listen to the command. And you can see everyone is just making sure that they understand what needs to be done, and they got the job done. So beautiful stuff coming from Team Philippines, even though there were so many plays coming from Team Malaysia. But I'm not gonna lie, Team Philippines, they've got ice in their veins because they are not reacting to any taunts, any aggression, any significant plays coming from Team Malaysia to bait out spells. And you can see Team Philippines, it's okay. Whatever mental games that you're trying to do doesn't work on them.
What an opening game in the SEA Games. This is just the first match of the day. And we can see how intense it is. It doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. So even in any of the games, do not skip over anything, because even though Malaysia looked like they were about to win, Philippines, they are showing why they are still currently the world champions.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, the entire game as well, even though it's pretty intense because there are a lot of mind games involved, right? Usually, if you saw a normal game, you see like, oh, there's a hero, we're gonna throw spells. But for them, it was all about timing their attacks, playing patiently, waiting for the right target. And I liked how Team Philippines was able to punish on Team Malaysia's aggression. Every time they react, every time they make the first move, we react. They make the first move, we react. And whenever Team Malaysia makes the full move, if it's not entirely the end of the roll, they will wait patiently and punish on players that makes mistake. In this case, they have punished on 4 mates multiple times. But before that, let's take a look at the items real quick between the first match in the group stages.
Yeah, right now I want to talk about the composition first. I want to talk about the heroes, right? Because from the side of Philippines, I really like how, yes, Beatrix, Gonzalez, as well as the Eve, I would say they are the main factors for actually winning this game because we can see every single time the real manipulation was open. Malaysia, the side of Malaysia, they were a little bit confused. They weren't sure. They weren't sure whether they should move in front or go away from the real manipulation. And then Gonzalez, even though he was pressured quite heavily in the early stages of the game, we can even see that the side of Malaysia, they're actually focusing on the top half of the map. He still manages to get all of his items, and he still manages to deal a lot of damage. And speaking of which, Gonzalez was the MVP of the game.
Exactly. His Beatrix plays and his patience is what completely threw Team Malaysia off guard. And with his fine items, the Hearth Guard to counter-negate the plate armor was so smart. And waiting for that item was a huge factor because ever since he got Hearth Guard, he was willingly going into a trade against Team Malaysia, knowing that I won't be able to be picked off with the plate armors coming from the tanks of Team Malaysia. So a lot of patient games, but Gonzalez has played it really well, despite having a very disadvantaged early start with dying twice against Momo.
Yeah, 11, 3, and 6, Mash KDA, 738 gold per minute and 81% kill participation. And we do have to see, besides the immortality, it is a full damage dealer Beatrix. It looks like in this game, he was not worried at all of dying. He was pretty sure that his team will have his back. He just have to dish out the damage. So this is one showing him personally as an athlete, his own capabilities, but also the trust that he has for his own team.
Yep, let's take a look at the highlights as well towards game number 1. As you can see, in the early stages of the fight as well, like Team Philippines, they got the early 2 total. Eventually, Team Malaysia was able to get up a little bit momentum, even though playing the box here is something that wants to put them in a situation where they want to play aggressive, they want to stall them out. But when they hit this stage of the game, it was nearly impossible because they kind of missed their timing from Team Malaysia.
And look at all the mistakes that Team Malaysia has made. Even though they have won certain areas of the map, they still try to invade. They still try to control the Philippine side of the map, going into their own jungle. And we can see Malaysia, every single time Zorn sees that he has an opportunity, he will take it. But Philippines, we can look at their positioning, always having 2 or 3 people there so they can punish. And this is why the Ube strategy works so well for them, because they understand that people will want to pick off 1 or 2 people from their own side of the team. So there has to be someone there. Even though, let's say, Imam was sacrificed, they can get 2 or 3 kills off of that team fight. So Philippines, they can play reactionary towards Malaysia, where it's like, yeah, you guys really want to engage, then you try your best, and then we will match you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you can see time and time again where Team Philippines is waiting for Team Malaysia to react, right? And the biggest threat here from Team Philippines is none other than Villa Luna on the Angela. Because as soon as the hard guns drop down, there's going to be extreme slows to pair up with the real motivation, which you can see time and time again why everything looks like it's in slow motion. The reason being it is because there is the slows coming from Eve, there is the slow from Angela, and it puts them in a situation where if Team Malaysia tries to back off, they will be in a position where they might close up together, which allows for a big AoE wipe for Team Philippines.
Yeah, and we also have to talk about the hero picks, because for the side of Malaysia, we can see Formace, he really tries to go to the back line, trying to absorb as much damage as he can. And of course, with the execute, he does want to get some kills. But Gonzalez being there, able to dish out quite a lot of damage, and then it's like, yeah, I'm just going to heal up. I am a Khalid, I can heal up. But with Balman there, with his little counter, is like, you know, your HP is very low. My damage will outskill your healing, no problem. So over there, on the side of Formace, his hero is very good, but in that particular situation, when Balman is always there to use his little counter, it doesn't work out in his favor in this match.
Agreed. Once you pass down towards that, below 70,
when he's around
65% threshold, you're pretty much going to be one hit KO. So it makes a lot of sense. But I'm not going to lie, Team Philippines pulled off a composition which is very difficult to pull off and requires certain win conditions in order to win. As long as Angela doesn't die, everything is fine. You pick off anyone else, it's okay. Angela's going to be able to contribute as well, because if you think about it, time and time again, they tried to sacrifice, I believe, the Balmon in multiple instances. They're not doing too well. But the reason why they're not doing well is because the plate armors coming from Team Malaysia is the reason why the Beatrix is not able to chunk it out. And ever since that comes in, it's okay. We've got sustains, we've got kills. As long as we chunk them out, we're good.
And we do have to say that this is just the first match, and I feel like all the other 5 countries are watching, and then they're like, yes, Malaysia and Philippines, even if they're hiding certain strategies, they're already showing a lot of their hand. Where Malaysia, they do tend to make mistakes in terms of overaggression, and Philippines, they're very patient. They're not looking like, we don't have to push for a fight if we don't have to, you know? They're not playing on the enemy's win condition. So I feel like even though this is the first match, every single athlete is going to watch and they're going to learn a lot from this first series of games.
Yeah, I feel like the intimidation tactic coming from Team Malaysia is not working out anymore. And I think the only time their intimidation tactic worked was Zorn down the middle, forced Veluna to go for hard guard, and it's like, you know what, I'm just going to back out and go home. But aside from that, I did not see a lot of reactions from the Team Philippines, and they're just very objective driven. Their priority focus has been very, very on point, which is scary, considering that if you are a normal player, you would see a hero, your first reaction is to either auto attack or throw a spell. For them, walking right through them, ignoring them for like a good solid 5-6 seconds to assess the situation and then choose your targets in the midst of the conversion, it's a very, very ballsy play, but it paid off tenfold because why? The moment Team Malaysia make a mistake, we know they do not have spells.
Yes.
Focus fire, done. Job's done. And that was very, very scary. I've not seen this gameplay in a very, very long time.
Yeah, and that was the first game in this best of 2. So whoever just tuned in, we are playing a 2-game series for every single game in the first stage of the SEA Games. So in the first match, Team Philippines managed to beat out Team Malaysia in the way that Malaysia was controlling the map for a very long time. The Philippines managing to catch mistakes after mistakes, managing to get back into the game and then ending the game by itself. So right now we do have to see for the second series of the game because, again, Malaysia and Philippines being known as the 2, I would say, favorites going into Group A has not disappointed. For both of the national teams, they have shown their prowess individually as well as a team. So right now from the side of Malaysia, we do have to see whether they will do any kind of adjustments. And the same thing can be said to the side of Philippines because I feel like they wanted to win the early skirmishes, but they weren't able to.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, the beauty of the draft coming from Team Malaysia is that their intention is to snowball pretty hard in early stage game. They've got a box there, which arguably is a great way of dealing with an enchanter, right? The debuffs coming in and so on. But the biggest issue was that they didn't expect to lose the turtle buff in the first phase, especially when the Balmon coming in. You are going to be sinking your leader counter into his retribution, which obviously has more damage than any other junglers, which obviously Baxia doesn't have the skills to actually burst him down compared to Lancelot, etc. So you can see a lot of mind games come from Team Malaysia. They respect this, they understand this, but the only thing they lost out was that they didn't expect that their intimidation tactics didn't work, and one greed play is what cost them that fight.
Even in a loss, they can learn a lot of things because during the draft, when we saw the Beatrix as the third pick for the side of Philippines, we even mentioned during the drafting phase that for the side of Malaysia, their jungler has to be someone that can be able to deal with the Beatrix because even though we still haven't seen the jungler coming from the side of Philippines, but we're pretty sure that the Beatrix is going to be a problem. And we did say the ones that can handle the Beatrix was the Chow as well as the Khalid. And we saw them try time and time again. So they understood what needs to be done. But now they know against Gonzalez, against these athletes, it's not going to be a simple task. So they know that they will not have enough damage and they will not have enough sustainability to actually deal with the damage coming out from Gonzalez. So coming into the second game, I do want to see whether Chiku, being the jungler, will he change his jungler dynamic? Instead of being the utility hero, he opts for the damage hero.
I definitely agree. I can see where you're going as well. What I feel like the biggest problem that Team Malaysia is actually struggling as well, because they know for being very, very mechanical skills. They're known for their mobility. They're known for their escape artists, right? It was so hard to do that when you're constantly being slowed by a Eve and an Angela out of nowhere. And on top of all this is happening, you have an Esmeralda that benefits from all this slows, right? Esmeralda, arguably one of the slower side, which are oftentimes forced to go for mobility items, doesn't even need it at all because everyone is comfortable with Mo. Even though the main killer is going to be Momo, but besides Momo killing him, Esmeralda is picking and bullying on everyone in the vicinity. So it's a lot of mind games, a lot of variations when it comes to layering of offense. I feel like Team Philippines is just a little bit ahead in terms of their decision making and their communication compared to Team Malaysia, even though Team Malaysia was able to have an early start of game 1-1. So hopefully they're able to fix it. I feel like draft wasn't the issue. It was just more in the mental fortitude right now.
And we do have to put into consideration that the side of Philippines, they are playing their own playstyle, which is the Mlbb strategy, where even though they don't have the Estes made popular because of the playstyle, but right now we can see even without the Estes, they can still emulate the same result where they're gonna move as 3 or 4, only showing 1 or 2 characters on the map. The other one will be missing, will be hiding in either of the bushes to counter-engage whoever is coming forward. So Malaysia, they do have to be very, very careful when they have a dive-heavy composition or a pick-off composition that they might be going into a trap. You see one person there, maybe 2 person there, and then ended up it being 4 or 5. So for the side of Philippines, it's really the strength of friendship. It's the power of friendship.
I agree.
You think you're going up against 1 person? No, it's gonna be 3. It's gonna be 4. It's gonna be 5. So they have to be aware of this.
You know, that's why it's called the ultimate bonding experience, and I perfectly agree as well. And not gonna lie, despite the enchanters being nerfed in the overpatches as well, Team Philippines is just so smart, and this is their signature that won them M3. So even though it's a nerf, I feel like if you're so good at a strategy, it doesn't matter what nerf you do, we are going to be able to pull it off. And I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult based on the match in the game 1. Because if you were to watch the entire replay itself, you can see that Team Philippines required every single spell to be utilized in the right targets very efficiently. One wrong spell onto the wrong target can cost them the fight. So I feel like it was very difficult to pull off, but I don't know. It might be the leadership of Villa Luna. It might be a little bit of a difference in approach. But I feel like right now, Team Philippines, if we were to compare their performance in MPL, this is their prime back in action.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned, even though it does seem like the meta isn't really in their favor, but this is the strength of the athletes coming in from Philippines. This is the heart of a champion where they don't follow the flow. They force the flow to follow against them. So it's like, you tell me that this is the best, I tell you I'm going to make this the best. So from the side of Philippines, I would say all of the national teams coming in representing their own home country in the SEA Games, this is the mentality that everyone has. Don't tell me what is good right now. I will make this good right now.
Yep, and as of yet as well, I'm looking forward to see what kind of drafts Oh My Winners is going to be bringing to the table as well. We were expecting Enchanter styles. We were like talking about it from the get-go. It's their famed signature. And you can see even as well, Team Malaysia, they've opted to pick the boxes just for it, but it just wasn't enough. So I feel like it's not a little bit of a draft, it's more about whether or not can they play to their own momentum, to their playstyle, and win in their own conditions. And as of yet, based on these bets, with Team Malaysia on the blue side, this time they are going to be the ones to dictate the drafts.
Yeah, it's always a better advantage being in the first pick, because being in a second pick position, you're always forced to ban out the must-ban heroes, just like the Valentina. And right now, looking at Team Malaysia, they're really focusing on the mid side of the game. So they're still banning out the Matilda, they're banning out the Eve, showing respect to Philippines, and they ban out the Masha. So it looks like for the first series, we're not going to be able to see Masha as well as 1-1, even though they swapped sides. The ban is still the same.
Yeah, I feel like Masha should be taken out of the equation as well. XP lane, even though it's not really the strongest in terms of lane matchup, but it's just annoying to deal with because you won't be able to kill Masha.
And what if the split push happens?
Exactly. And what if the split push happens? And what if Masha decides to take a journey down to his jungle and completely chunks out 60% of your jungler's health before the fight even begins? So it's very annoying to deal with. Not many heroes can actually counter it. Not worth taking the risk.
Right now, Malaysia, they're having a tough time because this is their first pick to really set up their draft. What are they prioritizing right now? And looks like they still love the Xavier. Moon still favors this hero. So they have shown what is their mid laner. However, they haven't shown the main win condition for the entire lineup.
Yeah, I feel like Moon was struggling to get in position, even though he does have like a global range position, but he's not able to set up a lot of assists with his team because of the Eve composition counter, right? Once upon a time, we talked about the Eve composition against the Farsa as a great mirror matchup when it comes to mage versus mages, but when it came to that situation, it was very difficult for him to be the utilitarian for Team Malaysia, especially when Team Philippines utilitarian is just slightly stronger when it comes to AoE CCs. But now, coming to drops again, seems like Team Philippines, they are sticking to their comfort picks, and Team Malaysia might be opted to pick up the carry as well as the Angela if they want to deny it away from Team Philippines.
Right now, Team Malaysia, they have seen what is the problem that they faced for the first game, where Soto on the Esmeralda managing to actually push out the backlane damage dealers away, where even Momo as well as Moon was worried when the Esmeralda is there. So right now they need an answer, whether someone has to peel off the Esmeralda, or for this time, as we discussed earlier, do they want to prioritize a jungler that can kill off the Gonzalez, Beatrix early on? But that's the thing. If you show your jungler early, you're going to give opportunities for Philippines to counter it again.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It feels like they were forced to pick the Khalid just because of the matchup, but seems like Team Malaysia, they are going to be taking the opportunity to take up the Franco, considering that Team Philippines have banned it off in first phase of the game.
Yeah, and we expected Dyrov for the first game. They took Khalid, but for the second game, they are bringing in the Dyrov, where I feel like this sense for me was like, you know what? The first, what they were trying to do in the first game was go in front, trying to get kills. If you can't, just try to survive as long as you can. And right now, for me, it's like, you know what? Even if I die, it's okay. I'm going to take 2 people with me. I'm going to take 3 people with me. So right now, Malaysia, they have changed their draft slightly, but it's still roughly the same thing. Zorn is going to be focusing on the pickoff, and then for me, he's trying to get
I want to rebuttal a little bit on this as well, because game number 1, it felt like Team Malaysia, they were forced to play something that they're not comfortable with, knowing that Formace has the tendency to win his 1v1 fights, right? Giving him a Khalid as a team fight composition as where he's going to be the meat shoe for team as a tank, feels like he's forced to play as a team rather than playing to his individual strength, which is going for pickoffs. And I feel like now that they are in this situation for Team Malaysia, and they do have a very, very strong pickoff composition, I feel like this is something that, okay, you know what? It's back to basic for Team Malaysia. We play for something we're comfortable with. If we tie this series, it's all good because there's still more matches to come.
And this is definitely a pick that we have to talk about. The Akai coming in from Philippines. It's going to be either a jungler Akai going to Del Rosario, or it's going to be a roamer Akai. Because again, we've seen Akai play so many times, but now it's the revamped Akai. So we have to see how the teams adjust according to this. And then for the side of Malaysia, they think that this Akai is going to the jungle because they're baiting out a roamer coming in from Angela. So for the side of Malaysia and the Philippines, they have adjusted slightly. Malaysia just have to be a little bit careful going in, because with the Hurricane Dance, he can stop you, or even worse, he can lock you down.
Yeah, I feel like the Hurricane Dance from the rework run is a little bit better now, but I personally don't like the range of his mobility compared to before. But what I do like is that if you pop your Hurricane Dance straight, you can use the Town Supporter to move the Hurricane Dance to slam someone, to reposition and slam one guy towards the wall. So I feel like it's great, but at the same time, it is also easily countered by heroes such as Purify, as well as the time journey on the Diggy itself. So it's something that I don't think Team Malaysia is happy about picking about that, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, and over here we can see Akai after the revamp has more mechanics compared to before, so it's going to be very interesting what we're going to see. And for the side of Philippines, they have banned out the Karina as well as the Barats, and for the side of Malaysia, they have banned the Angela. I think we have to see if they're really going to be focusing on a mage enchantress type heroes, because as of right now, Philippines have shown their main damage dealers, and right now they have banned out the Cho. They're really thinking that this Akai is going to be in the jungler position.
Ooh, this is a possibility as well. And I feel like I'm not a big fan of jungle Akai, but if you get a pretty early level 4, And very, very early Hurricane Dance can be very deadly, especially in those early stages of the game. As you can see, the drafts coming from Team Malaysia, they don't have very, very strong level 4 items to deal, level 4 skills to deal with an Archive. But in Philippines, they are going to go for a double marksman composition. Not exactly sure how this is going to work, but I feel like this is a mid Beatrix.
There's
or maybe even a tank Popo and Koopa again.
There's various ways that they can do about this. They can use the Beatrix in the mid or the gold lane. Same thing that we can say about Popo and Koopa. Instead of being the damage dealer coming in from the mid, it can be a roamer. But with that being said, even though Popo and Koopa is a roamer, you can still be cheeky and put on a Blade of Despair onto the Popo and Koopa and just really bank on the damage. I wouldn't say it's the best, but if Philippines really has this Akai as a jungler, they already have an Esmeralda. Maybe they're like, you know what, we have enough in terms of defense. We just need more damage.
I feel like this is kind of greedy, but at the same time, it's more like it's a difference and priority when it comes to scaling, right? Early on, Popo Koopa is going to go for a tank, and then later into the middle stage game, you are going to be transitioning to a more defensive role. So I like the role switch when it comes to scaling for Team Philippines, but I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work out.
Right now, let's look at Team Malaysia. Who's going to be the jungler?
They're off.
Darev's going to be jungler.
Yeah, they're off straight up.
So the Atlas is going to be the XP laner.
No, this is going to be a gold lane. No, this is going to be a gold lane Xavier. Maybe okay. Wait a minute.
It's a jungler Atlas. All right.
Huh?
Okay, you know what, Terrence? This is the SEA Games. This is when they have to show their very, very best. Philippines, they have secured a lot of late game damage heroes over here. They have the Matrix as well as they have the Sicilian. So Team Malaysia, they have to be aware. You're gonna suffer a lot of damage from the side of Philippines going into the later stages of the game. And Team Malaysia, they have a lot of setup. They have a lot of ways to engage the team fight.
Yeah, they've got a lot of wombo combos, but I'm a little bit concerned on jungle role. So I want to see how Team Malaysia put it off. And Team Malaysia, they've known for this very, very wacky draft. But sometimes if it works, it works. But if it doesn't work, it's a complete flop. So I don't know how this is going to happen. But I'm looking forward to see whether or not they can make a comeback. But this is going to be second series, and I'm looking forward to see whether or not they do so. Because that is going to be, like you said, the Jungle Atlas. I've never seen this before in my history of casting Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
This is why I love my job. And right now you can see for the side of Philippines, they are trying to go a little bit aggressive, and it is confirmed that it's also going to be a Popo and Koopa in the roam position. Gonzalez has to use his flicker earlier on, where Zorn and Momo is over here bullying in the gold lane.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie, Lafel. I am at loss of words, but
I love my job.
I know I love my job. All right. Okay, yo, that looks like a pretty nice hook. Unfortunately, the Purify from Villa Luna gets used up. But take a look at this as well. They've got triple Purifies from Team Philippines just to deal with the hook coming from Zorn. This is how annoying it gets. And it's okay.
You know what? I feel like
all right.
I feel like if this is going to be the trend, every other nation has to look at Malaysia and be like, you know what, we cannot let the Franco go, because in the early stages of the game, he already forced out a Purify as well as a Flicker, and he delayed Philippines from getting their purple buff. So from the side of Malaysia, again, we have to remember, early stages of the game, in the previous series, in the previous match, they did very, very well, but in the later stages of the game, they still lost. So even with a good setup, where over here they managed to get Gonzalez first blood, again going to Malaysia.
Okay, this is something I did not expect. Immediately level 4 Chiku goes in for the Fatal Links. This is something that I don't think Gonzalez can escape at all. So this is a very interesting take of how they approach. But here comes the hook coming from Zorn. Did not miss yet an Imam in a little bit of trouble. That is going to be Team Malaysia getting a kill. However, he is going to be paid with his life, with Rosario capitalizing with the Hurricane Dance.
Over here, we can see that both these teams are being very, very aggressive, and Team Malaysia, they managed to get the turtle. Villa Luna is low, and the kill is going over to Moon. And for the side of Malaysia, 3 kills over to 1. Right now, Philippines and Malaysia, they're not shying away from fights, but Malaysia, again, having a very good start in the second match.
Yo, Lafel, I know you love your job. I've never seen something like this before, and I don't know how they're just getting away with this because logically this should not be working, and Team Malaysia just scaling pretty well. However, we've seen this very happen in game number 1. Team Malaysia, they win the early stage of the game, but it all comes down to patience. It all comes down to trigger discipline. I feel like Team Philippines is got it in their back, and as long as Gonzalez doesn't die a little bit too much, he's gonna be fine. However, middle side, Moon is gonna be caught out by himself as he gets completely shut down from side of Philippines.
Yeah, that was a positional mistake where he was alone and he went straight into the bush. So that was a mistake coming in from Malaysia. And right now, Philippines, as we talked about, whoever makes a mistake, they're going to capitalize on it. And right now, Philippines and Malaysia, they both share something that is similar, which is they have a jungler. They have a tank jungler. We just have to see how they really push things out because Malaysia, they have been engaging a little bit more, and Philippines, it looks like because they have the late game skilling heroes, they're just going to wait it out. They're just going to make sure that we have the items that we need, and then we're going to force something.
Agreed. So now going to be the Michu for the team. Gonzalez missing the snipe, but Team Malaysia, they're still looking for one wrong move, and this is something that Team Philippines is like sticking as 5, and knowing Team Malaysia, they have the tendency to go in for the capitalization as well. Fade Link comes in, Villa Luna is going to get pulled back, but immediately the Purify comes in. Chico completely getting chain CC'd with the Sanguine Claw, and there's nothing he could have done to survive that.
Yeah, I can definitely see what Chico was trying to do. He was trying to bait out the Purify, but Villa Luna is like, yes, I'm a very patient person. You cannot force this out of me. The moment he released, that's when he uses the Purify. So Malaysia, they have to learn that Philippine athletes, they're very confident. Gonzalez almost managing to take out Momo.
Yeah, the 2 shots on the shotty right there coming from Team Philippines is going to put them in economy as well. And I agree, the trigger discipline coming from Villaluna is just unheard of. And as of yet, Team Malaysia, they're going to be forcing a fight as well. Because Chiku does not have the Fatal Link, but he's going to try and poke his way against Soto. Unfortunately, this is a jungle Atlas with absolutely no damage.
Well, absolutely no damage that we know so far. I mean,
well, he's got a cursed helmet now.
He has a curse. Okay, so, like, it's one of those things where we have to wait for the game to finish, and then we have to see the damage that has been dealt with every single member of the game, because, in my opinion, logic is overrated. But speaking of that, we can see how Philippines, they have engaged onto Zorn. There's nothing that Chiku could have done. Very good catch coming in from Del Rosario.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I'm completely blown out by vibes as of yet, but I can see that Team Malaysia, they have to scale to the later stage game. It all comes down to Momo going for the fight itself, right? Now, he's got a Demon Hunter sword. It's going to be a mirror matchup, but at the same time, Momo is going to be focusing to kill on the tanks rather than the marksman. However, it's going to be on the bottom side as well, where you can see Team Philippines is going to be looking to go in for the punish. Meanwhile, on the top side, for Maze, looking for a 1v1 fight, goes in for the Wisdom Strike, doesn't get Soto.
And looking at the bottom lane, we can see Zorn. His HP is very low, but he manages to suppress Del Rosario inside, and that's going to be his first shutdown given over to Moon. Villa Luna as well as Gonzalez, very low. Moon managing to get that lockdown, but still, Villa Luna able to survive with a slither of health left.
Yep, big chain CCs as well coming from Zorn as well as Moon to actually set that out. That was a kill, very necessary kill coming from Team Malaysia to punish Team Philippines. This is the first time I've seen Team Philippines overextend and get punished heavily because of that play.
Yeah, we can definitely see that Del Rosario, that was his first death of the game. Right now, with a 4-1-1 KD8, is still looking very impressive. As Chiku 1-1-0, we have to see for both the sides who has the advantage going over to this turtle fight, because both of the junglers, I feel like they do want to play a little bit patiently because they have game-changing ultimates. But right now, we can see Del Rosario is there, and he manages to secure the turtle for Team Philippines.
Oh, nicely done coming with Team Philippines as well, holding down the mark, knowing that Moon does have a tendency to go for the dawning light. Patience, he waits for it and then takes it. So nicely coming from Team Philippines means that they are looking to go in for the snowball, as you can see on the bottom side as well. I don't think Formate is going to be able to do too much about the situation, as the turret is going to fall, as the rest of Team Malaysia looking to pick a fight down middle. But however, Chiku absolutely not being able to do so.
Unfortunately for the side of Malaysia, we do see that they really show what their winning condition is, and that is the team fight, because they have quite a number of crowd controls as well as AoE damage. For the side of Philippines, slightly more, I would say, flexible in how they manage their win condition, because no matter what, they're gonna scale good in the late game just because Imam is there with the Sicilian and Gonzalez is there with the Beatrice having the MVP plays in the first match of the day. So I feel like for the side of Philippines, they can wait, just like game one, they can wait as long as they want. At the moment Malaysia makes a mistake, then that's going to happen. And Malaysia can make a mistake just because the way that they play, they have to catch someone out. And Chiku is having difficulty with all these purifies coming in from Philippines.
Agreed, they're just getting hard counter all the way through. Villa Luna being very aggressive display, but for Maze, forced to use the flicker to get out of the Sanguine Claw combo, means that Team Philippines has managed to get an upper hand in terms of the flicker fight. But seems like Chiku is going to be focused on as well. Zorn looking to make a run for it as well as Villa Luna looking for the chain CC. Sanguine Claw not going to be able to chain his way through, but no, he catches until looking to go in for the slap. Zorn down towards the last health, but he will eventually get slapped to death as Imam pulls him out.
Right now, Philippines, they are really controlling the map. Malaysia, they cannot go in front at all. With all of these engagement heroes, they still cannot do anything. With 3 purifies going in for the side of Philippines, someone has to trigger the purifies first, and then Chiku has to go in. But it's going to be a very, very difficult spot to really set Chiku up because again, 1-1-0. He has not done a lot for his team in this match.
Agreed. Meanwhile, you can see the struggles are coming in. Villa Luna with the trap, just zoning him on very, very nicely. Chain CC just across the map, and Team Malaysia, they've got to figure a way out because as of yet, you can see Team Philippines because we're starting the work on towards a lot with Malaysia needing to make a move very, very soon, but unable to do so just because of the economy lead and their map across the lanes.
And right now, Malaysia, the only thing that they can do is actually put into a position where, for the side of Philippines, they do not expect it. They have to have a very, very good flank strategy where they really will not see it coming. And then with the surprise element, being able to win out the game. Because late game damage, they do have it, but yet carry does a lot of damage late game, but Imam with that is going to deal more damage. Zorn managing to catch one member of Villa Luna is going to get picked off, but is that enough? Looking at the damage coming in from Sicilian, it does too much from the side of Malaysia. It's going to be a big problem if Sicilian is there, if Sicilian is kept alive. I can't see how Malaysia can win the team fight.
Yeah, this is very difficult as well. It's a good kill coming from Team Malaysia, but is it going to be enough? Because the question remains, because as of yet, the Lord is going to be knocking down, and they can't seem to find the kills. Moon needs to sidestep his way through, however, gets chipped away with the bad impact coming in from the Sicilian, and that is a big void damage coming from Team Philippines. And just like that, they're looking to get an inhibitor as they sync up with the lanes. As you can see, based on the quick items before we head into the fight.
Yeah, looking at the Sicilian, he already has the Clock of Destiny Lightning Trench Run as well as the Ice Queen 1. This is a range game and Philippines is winning. Right now, Malaysia, they're in their own base. There's not much that they can do.
Oh,
the hook managing to get onto Gonzalez. That is the first kill in this team fight. But again, Imam is just kiting and he still survived. He managed to get out a lot of damage, but still a very good pickoff for the side of Malaysia.
Ooh, it's not over yet for Team Malaysia, but as of yet, Team Philippines is looking to close out the game. This is going to be our first time seeing them this so oppressive. And as you can see, Team Chiku is looking for the fight as well from behind. Immediately gets chain, CC, and trap, and there's absolutely nothing Chiku could have done in that situation. However, Formace has something to say as he tries to go in for the refrag, and he gets solo alongside with Villa Luna as they want to go for a little bit more in this situation. Zorn is going to be there, and a big stunning light allows the Momo to get the clean kill. And here comes the hook, and Del Rosario gonna be the next to fall, just like that. They find the punishment, they find the mistakes, and they capitalize it.
Looks like Malaysia, even they can catch mistakes coming in from the side of Philippines. That was very impressive. I really did not thought that Formace with the Diref can really do that much. I was very confident that he can do the damage. I wasn't confident he was able to sustain, and he sustained for a very long time. He still has not died in this game. And Moon with that dawning light, like Malaysia is showing life in this game, and Zori managing to get Villa Luna. Is that gonna be enough? Will they be able to get this kill over here? And yes, they're able to get it, but Moon has to recall back to the base.
Agreed. Nicely done for Team Malaysia because they finally got their economy like spike to actually come back online. And it all comes down to that one hook, that one big fatal link to actually cause the fight. However, we've seen this happen before. Team Malaysia, they're going to be starting the Lord, and you can see Philippines is waiting to capitalize on the situation. But the hook doesn't seem to connect for Team Malaysia, but the Dawning Light does, but it's not enough damage as of yet.
Right now, Malaysia, they have to be patient. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a fairly foreign concept for them, but they do have to be patient. Wait for Zorn to catch anyone. If he manages to get Gonzalez that does not have a Purify, that will be great. Villa Luna right now, his Purify is on cooldown as well. For the side of Philippines as well as Malaysia, they're playing, they're dancing around. They're playing between the mid lane control as well as the Lord control. So they're really looking each other in the eyes and say who's gonna go first. And Soto has just went in first.
Moon is gonna be the corner. He's just coming from Team Philippines. He just got his Divine Glaive. He needs to land the big W. But here it comes. It doesn't seem to connect a lot. And Chiku is gonna get caught off as Team Philippines will lose both the tanks from the junglers. But it's not over yet. As you can see, Forme is trying his best to do as much damage today. Cheats Villa Luna, but it's not going to be enough because eventually Gonzalez is going to be the one to completely obliterate them all. Momo, however, is going to be looking to pick a fight with the tanks. He's got the damage, but Moon trying to go in for the setup. But Gonzalez is going to trade his life with Momo. Moon is last man standing, and he's still got the damage. But Team Philippines has something to say. It's 2v1. They want to do something about this, but Moon gets the third Dawning Light. It says it's not over yet for Team Malaysia. It's not over yet. Not that easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 31st SEA Games Mobile Legends team event. Looking at both of these national grades coming in from Malaysia as well as Philippines. Every single athlete is showing their stuff because Moon, even though in the back line, he makes sure that he can secure those kills. Zorn, like, right now, it's individuality. Every single player has to carry their own weight. As of right now, everyone is doing amazing. Right now, it's anyone's game. Philippines can win this. Malaysia showing strength that they still want to win with 1-1 score.
Yeah, that's the power of the Xavier itself. Like, once you reach into this later stage game, if you allow Moon to get super crazy, he's going to be able to dish out damage. You can see that Philippines immediately shifted the focus as soon as Moon purchased his Divine Glaive. Everyone was trying to kill Moon, and as soon as Moon survives, things get a little bit tough. However, Soto has something to say because he's going to get picked off with that play. However, the rest of Team Philippines, they are looking to salvage the situation by trading off with the Lord. Can they get it in time? But it seems like Team Malaysia, they are going to get the steal with Chiku going in head strong and taking the retribution. And now they're going to be forcing a fight, but Chiku will gladly sell his soul to the devil as he takes his life for a Lord.
Perfect match into the Lord pit, managing to win out that retribution fight right now. Philippines as well as Malaysia, they're forced out. Purify coming in from the side of Ima right now. Philippines, they're really trying to make sure that the mid lane turret is not touched. The Lord is there. This is going to be a Luminous Lord. He will charge in to the turret. So right now, Philippines, they still have Imam. As long as Imam is there, as long as he can zone everyone out, and Soto coming in from behind, focusing on Moon. Moon right now has very low HP. Moon is gonna go down. Del Rosario managing to actually catch Momo, but Zorn with a counter engage, giving the kill over to Momo, flicker to the front, and right now Villa Luna is gonna go away. And Philippines, even though they have sacrificed a few of their members, they still managed to make sure that their turret, oh, never mind. The turret still managed to be fallen.
Guess what? Team Malaysia, they're not over yet. They managed to get another pickup. This is the Team Malaysia we're talking about as well. The layers of punches they are going to be dishing on the table. And you can see the amount of fight that is happening as well now. Zorn looking for the hooks, and they can't exactly do too much for Maze. Looking for the backline to bully out Gonzalez. However, it's going to get slowly chipped away, whereas the rest of Team Malaysia is going to be focusing on the middle inhibitor. Unfortunately, this is going to be the comeback that Malaysia has been eyeing for throughout the entirety of game number 2.
Right now, we can make a case for any of these teams because Philippines, again, Malaysia, they only have to get caught by a Sanguine Claw maybe 2 or 3 people get caught in the Sanguine Claw, and it's gonna be over. Looking
Yeah.
at the itemization over here, where Carry focusing on 3 damage items right now, looking at Philippines, they want to engage on the team fight.
Okay, I perfectly agree that this is happening as well, but as of yet, Team Philippines, they're deciding whether or not they want to overcommit, because when they go to the choke spawn, Moon is going to completely obliterate them. Chico forces the failing post 1, but looks like they are going to extend it with the hook with Zorn. Unfortunately, the Zorn is like completely airballing, means that they need to reconsider their fight, because as of yet, Team Malaysia, Momo, a little bit too low to actually contest this, and looks like that is going to be the disengage coming from Team Malaysia.
Yeah, looking at the damage coming in from the side of Gonzalez as well as Imam, it's going to be a very, very stressful situation for Momo, because one hit and half of his HP is gone. Looking at his items, he only has a Athena shield to make sure that he can survive against the Sicilian, but again, the Sicilian will shed through that, just because we can see that he already has a Divine Glaive, which has a pretty high penetration rate against an Athena shield. But right now, Momo understands that it's mostly about dealing enough damage, because Malaysia, the main damage dealers are Moon, Formis, and Momo, and he has to make sure that he does as much damage as he can.
Agreed. This is quite worrisome from Team Philippines, just because if you pay attention to all the defensive items, none of them have Radiant Armor to actually counter the damage output coming from Moon. And now with Moon, his global presence is available. He's forced to recall back into his base, but the Lord is going to be up for jeopardy. Team Malaysia now waiting for the response for Team Philippines, as 4Maze is going to back off as they focus on a target, because they managed to find out Soto, and here comes the pick of Momo. Is going to look for the finish, and wow, Soto is going to sacrifice his immortality, and he manages to escape the grasp of Momo and also securing the Lord for Team Philippines. That is not what I was expecting.
Amazing plays coming in from the side of Philippines. Soto understand that he has to sacrifice something in order for his team to get something. So he showed his face, and then he gave an option for Malaysia. It's like, do you want to go for the Lord, or do you want me? I'm a lonely person over here. He survived. Yes, immortality was down, but overall, he still survived. And right now, Philippines, this potentially could be their final push to get a 2-0 on the first series of the game.
Exactly, the Lord is going to be coming in as well. They still have immortalities. However, Team Malaysia, they have to be a little bit careful. Moon popping the Dawning Light. He does have the Transcendent form, but as soon as he pops the Philippines, they completely ignore it. However, Zorn has something to say about it. Here comes the hole. Soto gets pulled back with the Winter Dragon. They're going to completely obliterate them, but Moon with the big 3-man Dawning Light and the Suns allows 4Maze to completely bully Philippines out of the fight. What was that chain reaction as Team Malaysia completely wipes the floor in that fight, and just like that, it's only Del Rosario to defend against it. But like I said, it's not over yet. The minions are pushed onto Team Malaysia, and as you can see, they've got about 28 seconds to force the lane to the Philippines, but at the same time, they have the Hurricane Dance with Del Rosario to actually buy the time for the respawn.
This is almost the same as what happened in the first game of the day, where Philippines, they won in the 20-minute mark after getting almost a wipeout. And right now, it's the same situation. And right now, Del Rosario, he had to use it. Chico canceled it out. So he's going to die out first. Soto is there. Soto is going to try. But right now, Team Philippines, the rest are survived. They came here. Team Malaysia, they're trying to force it out. But looks like they are going to go back. They have to take what they can get. It was so close, but Malaysia, they have to retreat.
Oh, they needed Momo in that situation. They needed some sort of physical damage. They tried their best, but unfortunately, it's just not enough. And that's how annoying the Hurricane Dance coming from Del Rosario. And oh, you hate to see it, especially when you're a Malaysian fan as of yet. However, the Philippines fans, they gotta be very happy, because this match is as close as it gets. You can see almost every tower is out of the equation, and Team Philippines, they are looking to bite back. Chiku, 20 seconds on the sidelines, 18 seconds for 4Maze, and Team Malaysia, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to defend this.
You know what? This is a good time to be a Mobile Legends fan, because no matter who you're rooting for, this is an amazing game. 24 kills over to 17 kills. But right now with 21 minutes in the game, kills doesn't matter anymore, because anyone who makes a mistake is gonna cost you, because the longer the game goes, the longer it is for you to respawn after your death. So right now, the Lord is there. 21-minute Lord is gonna be very, very strong. So whoever is overextending, they are most probably going to lose the game. So from the side of Malaysia, I feel there's pressure on Chiku as well as Zorn. And from the side of Philippines, I can feel pressure coming in from Del Rosario as well as Imam.
I like the discipline plays coming from Team Philippines as well. Play this safe. Team Malaysia, they still have what it takes. They have the damage. But the contrast right now is that they do not have their immortalities on cooldown yet. Some of them have it, some of them don't. And they cannot afford to lose this fight. But as of yet, looks like Team Philippines, they are going to force the issue considering that Team Malaysia have to keep their lanes in check. They are sending 4 mains up top, but Team Philippines, they're still hesitatingly waiting for right opportunity. They're banging on potentially Moon with the Dawning Light to snipe the Lord, but it's all about the waiting game as of yet. Team Philippines still waiting, but the HP, here he goes.
Yeah, right now Chiku going to the front. We can see Del Rosario trying to avoid that fight. Looking at Formies, what is he going to do? He's trying to flank, but looks like Villaluna saw that one coming. Philippines right now, their minions are pushing towards the base of Malaysia. There's not much that they can do. They can stay around, but it's gonna be very, very risky for them. Chiku, it's good thing he didn't get caught, but
yeah.
Malaysia, Philippines, this is a very intense situation. Soto to the side, Soto going back to the Lord, and right now the Lord was not able to be stolen for Malaysia. Chiku managing to get away. Philippines again securing the Lord to end the game. Malaysia, this is going to be a very, very difficult defend that they have to do against Philippines. But if they did what they did before, there's still chance for Malaysia to win this match.
Exactly half a second too early coming from Moon. They're banging on that big Dawning Light. However, Team Philippines now in prime position to do so. They've got economy, but here it goes. The Dawning Light comes in, steals the minion. Not exactly the best reward as of yet, but with the Lord knocking in, here comes the Hurricane Dance, preemptively used for Del Rosario defensively. That is huge for Malaysia, but they have immortalities, they've got bodies, they can focus on the crystal. Do they want to fight or do they want to ignore? Team Malaysia, they're trying to go for the fight. Philippines slowly picking away, but the damage coming in is a little bit too much. Oh my goodness! Run for their lives. The Team Philippines, they will have to disengage, and the amount of damage was unreal coming from Moon.
This is a very uncomfortable situation for both gold laners, for both marksmen, because they feel like, I have the longest range, man. What can you do to me? And for side of Philippines, Gonzalez just looking at the Dawning Light is like, that's a lot of damage. And Malaysia, where Momo is trying to dish out damage, and then suddenly Imam just hits him with the back impact, and then it's like, that's a lot of damage.
Yep.
And this is why the late game is so scary, because you can't overestimate your own HP pool. It's not as big as you think.
Yep, it seems like another Dawning Light to preemptively scout the vicinity. You can see all the players are starting to sell off their shoes to go for a little bit more damage. Likewise coming from Moon, but looks like here comes the concealed play from Philippines. They want to go in for the punch on Chico. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so because this Atlas is just so difficult to fight here. One wrong move is all it takes. Moon, however, doesn't have mobility. This is a big catch. They have to go in for the fight. Pops the Dawning Light, does have the immortality, but the rest of Team Malaysia, they need to save his life, but they cannot do anything. However, here comes the Fatal Link as well. He's slowly chunking his way through. Looks like they are going to go in for the brute force. 4 mains go from behind, tries to isolate the fight. Meanwhile, Momo is slowly making work onto the rest of the members coming from Team Philippines. 4 mains, however, loses his life, eventually getting a couple of kills, but Team Malaysia, they still hang on. Momo, down towards immortality, has to make a run for it. Soto going for the finish. Momo needs to want the last health, needs one more auto tank, but will lose the trade against Soto, and Team Philippines comes up on top, and it's not over yet. 4 mains all by himself. This is over for Team Malaysia as Team Philippines completely bleeds all out of all their utilities.
Good game, well played for both countries, Malaysia as well as Philippines. Philippines managing to get on top with a 2-0 game, but we do have to agree that both nations played so well, and Malaysia in that final fight, for both sides of the teams, they have very, very low HP. Everyone was playing at the edge of their own seat. Like, that was not an easy game for either of the teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Team Philippines, they understood what was the win condition. And taking out Moon was the bigger breakthrough because that was a big, big catch coming from Del Luna to actually catch him off. And you can see high fives are on his way. They know they got that barely in the bag because they needed to kill the Savior. And now from the side Team Malaysia, they know it's a good game. They understand it was very, very difficult. And Team Malaysia, despite looking for their revenge match, will not get it in this series as of yet.
Looking at good sportsmanship, like even though they're fighting their very best in the land of dawn, but over here in Hanoi, Vietnam, all of the players, all of the athletes show great respect because again, that was over 20 minutes for both of the games in the series, and they have earned respect from each other, even though they're from different countries. And again, we do have to say, Philippines in the SEA Games, they have beat Malaysia 2-0, not once, not twice, but 3 times in total.
Yep, this is a very, very heartbreaking moment for Malaysian fans, but a very celebratory moment for Team Philippines because they pulled off one of the most